Life before Columbus, the flourishing civilizations of the Americas. Long before Columbus set sail, the Americas were home to vibrant civilizations rich in culture, innovation, and diversity. Majestic cities like Tenochtitlan and Cahokia bustled with life, their intricate roads, markets, and temples reflecting sophisticated urban planning. The Maya charted the stars, while the Inca engineered vast networks of roads and terraces across the Andes. From the Iroquois Confederacy's democratic principles to the artistry of the Moche, these societies thrived, shaping a remarkable legacy that endures to this day. What if I told you that in 1491, the largest city in the world wasn't London, Paris, or Rome, but Tenochtitlan, a gleaming metropolis built on a lake in what we now call Mexico? What if the Americas weren't a wilderness waiting to be discovered, but home to civilizations so advanced they would make European visitors weep with envy? The year is 1491. While Europeans struggle with basic sanitation, and most cannot read, across the Atlantic Ocean lies a hemisphere teeming with innovation, art, and urban planning that wouldn't be matched in Europe for centuries. This is the untold story of the Americas before Columbus, a tale of empires, engineering marvels, and intellectual achievements that challenge everything we thought we knew about the New World. The Aztec Empire, Venice of the New World. Picture this. You're standing on the shores of Lake Texcoco in central Mexico, gazing upon Tenochtitlan. The morning mist parts to reveal a sight that defies belief. A city of 200,000 to 300,000 inhabitants, larger than any European city of the time, built entirely on artificial islands connected by an intricate network of canals and causeways. Towering pyramids pierce the sky, their limestone surfaces gleaming white in the sun, topped with temples where sacred fires burn eternal. But Tenochtitlan wasn't just impressive to look at. It was a masterpiece of urban engineering. The Aztecs had solved problems that plagued European cities for centuries. Fresh water flowed through sophisticated aqueduct systems, while human waste was carefully collected and used as fertilizer for the floating gardens called chinampas. These agricultural marvels were so productive they could feed the massive population year-round, with surplus crops flowing into bustling markets that Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés would later describe as superior to anything in Europe. The Aztec Empire, or more accurately, the Triple Alliance of Tenochtitlan, Texcoco, and Tlacopan, controlled territory stretching from coast to coast across central Mexico. Their tribute system was so efficiently organized that exotic goods flowed into the capital from every corner of Mesoamerica. Tropical bird feathers from the south, obsidian from volcanic regions, cacao beans that served as currency, and gold from distant mountains. The Inca, masters of the impossible. But here's where the story takes an even more astonishing turn. 4,000 miles south, along the spine of the Andes Mountains, stretched an empire that makes the Roman road system look like a country path. The Inca Empire, known as Tawantinsuyu, was the largest empire in pre-Columbian America, spanning over 2,500 miles from modern-day Colombia to Chile. What the Incas accomplished in the mountains should have been impossible. They carved agricultural terraces into near-vertical mountain slopes, creating farmland where none should exist. These terraces, many still in use today, prevented erosion while maximizing crop yields at altitudes where European crops would never grow. They domesticated the potato, giving the world one of its most important food sources, and developed freeze-drying techniques to preserve food that wouldn't be matched until modern refrigeration. But perhaps their greatest achievement was the Capac Ñan, a road network of over 25,000 miles of stone-paved highways that connected the empire from the Amazon rainforest to the Pacific coast. These weren't simple dirt paths, but engineering marvels featuring suspension bridges, stone steps carved into cliff faces, and tunnels through solid rock. Message runners called chasqui could relay information across the entire empire faster than any European postal system of the time. Without wheels, draft animals, or iron tools, the Incas moved massive stone blocks weighing up to 100 tons and fitted them together so precisely that you cannot slip a knife blade between them. The fortress of Sacsayhuaman near Cusco stands today as testimony to their engineering prowess, its massive walls having survived earthquakes that toppled Spanish colonial buildings. The Maya, astronomers and mathematicians. In the steamy jungles of the Yucatan Peninsula and Central America, the Maya had already risen, flourished, and partially fallen by 1491. But their intellectual achievements continued to influence the region. The Maya weren't just pyramid builders. They were among history's greatest mathematicians and astronomers. While Europeans were still struggling with Roman numerals, the Maya had developed the concept of zero independently and created a sophisticated base 20 number system. Their astronomical observations were so precise they calculated the length of a solar year to 365.2420 days, more accurate than the Julian calendar used in Europe at the time. Maya scribes recorded their knowledge in thousands of bark paper books, creating the most advanced writing system in the pre-Columbian Americas. They tracked the movements of Venus, predicted eclipses centuries in advance, and developed a complex calendar system that some claim is more accurate than our modern Gregorian calendar. North America, the forgotten metropolis. Now prepare yourself for perhaps the most shocking revelation of all. In what is now Illinois, along the Mississippi River, stood Cahokia, a city that at its peak around 1050 CE housed between 15,000 to 20,000 people, making it larger than London at the time. The centerpiece was Monk's Mound, a massive earthen pyramid covering 14 acres at its base and rising 100 feet high, larger at its base than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Cahokia was the center of a trade network that stretched from the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico. Archaeologists have found shells from Florida, copper from Michigan, and mica from the Appalachians, evidence of a sophisticated economic system. The city featured planned neighborhoods, large plazas for public gatherings, and a wooden circle called Woodhenge that served as an astronomical calendar. Though Cahokia had declined by 1491, indigenous peoples across North America continued to thrive in diverse societies. The Iroquois Confederacy had developed a sophisticated democratic system that would later influence the founding fathers of the United States. Pueblo peoples in the Southwest lived in multi-story apartment complexes and had developed advanced irrigation systems in one of North America's most challenging environments. The Amazon, not empty, but engineered. European explorers described the Amazon as an endless, empty wilderness. They were catastrophically wrong. Recent archaeological discoveries reveal that the Amazon basin supported complex civilizations with populations in the millions. Indigenous Amazonians didn't just live in the rainforest, they created it. Through careful management, they developed what scientists now call forest islands, areas of incredibly rich soil called terra preta that supported larger populations and greater biodiversity than the surrounding forest. They domesticated over 70 species of plants, many of which remain crucial food sources today. The tragic epilogue. Here's the heartbreaking truth that makes this story even more urgent to tell. By some estimates, the Americas in 1491 housed between 50 to 100 million people. Within a century of European contact, disease, warfare, and disruption had reduced that number by up to 90%. This wasn't just a demographic catastrophe, it was an intellectual apocalypse. Libraries burned, oral traditions died with their keepers, and technological innovations were lost forever. The civilizations of pre-Columbian America weren't primitive societies waiting for European enlightenment. They were thriving, innovative cultures that had solved problems, created art, and developed technologies that rivaled or exceeded anything found in the Old World. They had built cities that wouldn't be matched in size in North America until the 19th century, developed agricultural techniques that modern farmers still use, and created art of stunning beauty and complexity. When we strip away the myths of empty wilderness and primitive savages, we discover a hemisphere alive with human achievement. The Americas before Columbus were not a new world waiting to be discovered. They were an ancient world, rich in wisdom, ready to teach as much as to learn. The next time you bite into a potato, tomato, or piece of chocolate, remember, you're tasting the innovations of civilizations whose achievements we're only beginning to understand. The true discovery of the Americas isn't the story of 1492. It's the ongoing revelation of what was already here, waiting not to be found, but to be remembered.